Seoul, where the bright lights and bustling streets often masked the shadows lurking beneath, there was a man whose name sent chills down the spines of many. He was known as Jun Soo, a powerful mafia boss whose presence commanded attention. With sharp features, cold eyes, and a confident stride, he wasn't just another figure in the criminal underworld. He was its kingpin, feared and respected in equal measure. Jun Soo had built his empire piece by piece, facing betrayals and challenges that would have broken lesser men. He ran operations that involved everything from smuggling to extortion, and his influence stretched across various sectors. Those who dared to cross him often found out the hard way that his wrath was swift and unforgiving. The city buzzed with tales of his ruthless nature, whispered in dark corners and dimly lit bars. But behind his fearsome reputation lay a complex man, a man burdened by the weight of his choices. Junsu was not always the cold-hearted boss that everyone saw. Once he had dreams like any other young man. He had hoped for a life filled with love and happiness. Those dreams faded away as he got dragged into a world that offered power over peace. Now, every decision he made was a dance between survival and morality, leaving him sometimes questioning the path he had chosen. Junsu operated out of an old warehouse on the outskirts of Seoul, a place that had been transformed into a fortress. Inside, it was both intimidating and luxurious. Dark wood finishes mingled with high-end furniture. Men in sharp suits moved about quietly, always alert, loyal soldiers in his army. Surveillance cameras monitored every corner, ensuring no one could slip past unnoticed. This was Jun Su's domain, where he ruled without question. As Jun Su settled into his lavish office one rainy evening, the sounds of thunder echoed outside, mirroring the turmoil in his mind. He sat behind a massive oak desk cluttered with papers detailing illegal dealings and plans for future expansions. His phone buzzed repeatedly with messages from associates needing instructions or updates on ongoing projects. Yet today felt different. There was an unsettling tension in the air that he couldn't shake off. Through the window, he watched rain drench the streets below as people rushed by with umbrellas, oblivious to the darkness lurking just beyond their view. Junsu's gaze shifted to the frame photographs on his desk, images of victories won and enemies defeated. But they brought him little comfort now. Each photo told a story of betrayal and bloodshed. With a sigh, he leaned back in his chair, contemplating how long he could maintain such control over his chaotic world. A knock at the door jolted him from his thoughts. It was Min Jae, one of his most trusted enforcers. He stepped inside cautiously, holding an envelope that looked foreign in such a grungy atmosphere. "Boss," Min Jae said cautiously, "you might want to see this." Curiosity piqued as Junsu gestured for him to place the envelope on the desk. When it was opened, inside lay a single photograph, a snapshot that felt out of place amidst the heaviness of their dealings. Caught off guard by its contents, he stared intently at the image before him. There she was, a little girl with dark hair tied back in neat pigtails, her wide eyes sparkling with innocence and curiosity. But what struck Junsu most was her likeness to him. The same fierce eyes that had witnessed so much darkness over the years now looked back at him, full of life. For a moment, time stood still as memories flooded back from 5 years prior. A night filled with chaos and decisions that changed everything for him. It was then that he had lost himself in that world of crime and corruption. But this girl reminded him of something he thought he'd buried long ago: hope. Min-jae watched silently for any reaction from his boss, but knew better than to break Junsu's concentration. The photo was not just a picture. It represented questions about who she was and why someone would send it to him after all this time. "Do you know her?" Min-jae finally broke the silence. "No," Junsu replied curtly as his mind began racing with possibilities. This unexpected connection sparked something within him, a flicker of curiosity intertwined with dread. Junsu leaned back deeper into his chair, feeling the weight of uncertainty pushing against him like never before. How could one photograph unravel so much? As he examined the girl's face once more, the innocent smile juxtaposed against his dark soul. He couldn't help but wonder if fate had finally presented him with an opportunity to rewrite his story, or if it was simply another haunting reminder of what he had lost. 5 years prior, the streets of Seoul were alive with energy and noise, but the air was thick with tension as Jun-soo made his way to a hidden venue where a significant deal was about to unfold. It was a typical night in the criminal underbelly of the city, filled with dim lights and whispers of danger. The nightclub known as the Obsidian was notorious for being a place where deals were struck, alliances formed, and sometimes lives lost. As he approached the club, Jun-soo surveyed the surroundings with careful precision. He was always on guard. Trust was a luxury he couldn't afford. His reputation as a powerful mafia boss came with constant threats from rivals eager to take him down. With sharp features and an imposing presence, he moved through the crowd like a predator, scanning for prey. Inside, the music pulsed against his chest like a heartbeat. He strode confidently towards a private room at the back where key players awaited him. As he entered, he was met with nods of respect from his associates, but tonight felt different. A lingering sense of unease settled in his gut, a feeling he couldn't shake off despite the bravado surrounding him. "Are we ready?" Jun-soo asked, looking each man in the eye. Jin-woo, his closest advisor, stood beside him. "We're just waiting on their arrival," Jin-woo replied, shifting nervously as he glanced at the door. Minutes passed like hours. The tension in the room tightened until it felt suffocating. Just then, the door swung open violently, revealing figures shrouded in darkness, rival gang members who had clearly come to disrupt their plans. "Looks like we have company," Jun-soo muttered under his breath as adrenaline surged through him. The atmosphere instantly shifted. A cacophony erupted as words turned into shouted threats, and accusations flew across the room like bullets fired from unseen guns. It became evident that things had escalated beyond negotiation. This was now about survival. "Get ready!" Jun-soo barked as he reached for his weapon hidden beneath his jacket. He could feel Jinwoo's hand clasping his shoulder tightly, an anchor amid chaos that swirled around him like a tempest. Amidst the chaos unfolding before him, Jun-soo's mind raced with choices and consequences. Should they fight? Should they flee? In this realm of crime, where loyalties shifted like sand beneath their feet, hesitation could prove fatal. The faces of those loyal to him flashed before his eyes, men who had stood by him through thick and thin, and suddenly his choice became clear. He lunged forward into action just as gunshots rang out. Screams filled the air around them. Chaos engulfed the Obsidian. The lights danced erratically as smoke swirled amidst cries for help, ringing out through shattered glass and overturned tables. In that moment of shock and violence, Jun-soo fought aggressively to protect not only himself, but those who believed in him. His heart pounded fiercely within his chest as he faced down rival gang members who charged toward them like wolves seeking blood. He ducked beneath wild swings while retaliating with calculated precision, a mixture of instinct honed over years spent mastering this violent lifestyle, a choreography drenched in desperation and fraught with danger. But then it happened, the unthinkable choice that would haunt him forever. Amidst all this turmoil, he saw her, a woman pressed against the wall, shielding a small child behind her trembling body. The girl's wide eyes reflecting both fear and innocence, starkly contrasting against the violence erupting just inches away. "Get down!" Jun-soo yelled instinctively as he rushed forward to protect them both from stray bullets, ricocheting perilously close to their position. Time slowed. Every second felt monumental. The weight of life and death choices rooted deeply inside, pushing against what seemed insurmountable odds. As gunfire continued to reverberate through the Obsidian, chaos exploded around them, a tornado formed by betrayal, mingling with desperation, swirling into an unpredictable storm, threatening lives without mercy, all while emotions surged. Within Jun-soo, born from years disconnected, years losing sight of humanity, buried underneath criminal ambition, prevailing fiercely. In that fleeting moment, when everything spiraled out of control, Junsu found himself torn between instincts honed over years spent navigating treacherous waters versus instincts fueled now by something more profound. A longing, perhaps, rekindled something dormant, yearning, desperately yearning protection amid chaos encapsulating echoes, lost affection, once felt long ago. Why did I do this? A part of him screamed internally. But reason faded along visceral instinct, fighting indignation colliding ever upward, forcing clarity, shaking relentlessly, freeing doubt, buried deeper than imagined, unleashed regrets sprawling infinitely beckoning truths, universally cast away, once confronted. Accepting enduring possibility, blossoming recognition, still waiting, patiently deeply concealed forevermore. Unbeknownst shadowy corners hiding unsolved mysteries, holding undiscovered gratitude, dawning brighter illuminating, poignantly inviting futures adorned, unveiling vividness. Explored, repeated, wholeheartedly, desired, embraced favorably, purposed forging. Cherished honing genuine connections, eternally strengthened dear moments. Never again surrendered, igniting infinite depth, disclosed formative growth. Colored vibrant connections, morphing tales. Unparalleled exquisite engagements, beautifully woven understanding, reciprocated gloriously, illuminating expectations. Cherished courage, pursuing undiscovered paths. Firm grasp, lovingly shared intertwining parts. Treasured brightened future emerging endlessly nourished boundless benevolence, needed awakening. Silent echoes, fairies whispered kindness, carried lightly within edges reaching blissful forever, transforming horizon, shining distinctively, woven magnificently, dancing grace awaiting future echoes, rich discovery invariably calling tender hands, embracing anew, rekindling potential, afterward welcoming exciting journeys, promised rediscover, belonging incredible strength, residing healing inner power, rising often punctuated unity, crafting moments bursting open forever, blooming shared experiences, igniting joy, embracing through searching hearts, united fostering beacons ultimately calling, recasting luminescent unity, showcasing bonding, deeper reconnecting, alongside hope woven profoundly, turned evoking dreams, reached hence, sustaining freshness, moved gently, amplifying life-wide bonds, glowing expansively. Nurturing lovingly returned illuminating steps change thereafter. Revisiting life burst forth treasure amongst gracefully happy returns, reinstating peace extending unreachable horizons. Anew illuminating souls, traveling homeward, finding warmth amid sweet gales rising, whispering likewise callings, awakening, blending beautiful rhythms, waiting continuously cherished, eternally softened, when roused sweeping winds course together, embracing endlessly significant dreams, brightened, woven, destined, vibrant, interconnected seams freely flourishing immeasurable infinity unfurling henceforth, anchoring heartstrings jubilantly manifest spirits, transform resoundingly, thus crossing stillways, lifetimes acknowledged arrestingly luminous overt creations, touching eternal within foundation, restoring frequencies hereafter, iteratively journey forever ventured, returning shaping. Blessings jumbled scattering seeds, reaping richly fruitful lands. Evolving splendidly, growing delightful blooms, emerging turning into gentle embraces, enveloping inevitably gift claims, illuminating sweetness dedicated lovingly toward transcendent, eternally defeating barriers, guiding unbound optimism, radiating splendidly, lighting bonds across horizons, lovingly interlaced, weaving gentle togetherness, affirming completions, overflowing, truly held warmly eternal journeys, woven destinies, cradled sincerely extending outward, flowing refreshing circles fostered inherently perceptively illuminating light, restoring filling comforting spaces, enriched nurtured effusing brilliantly woven intimately guiding light, connecting kindred anchoring, evermore embracing waves beholden beauty, crafting securing restoration, fidelity, belonging remaining greater expanse seen entwined, safe flitting possibilities, tasting joyfully unknown, seizing everything. Fortuitously sparked, emphasizing gathered togetherness, floral-laid fields, wherein souls beckoned onward. Everlight found silk producing oceans, cupping eternities, stretching beyond recognizable shores, willing gathering. Finally gleaming threads, wishing steadfast margins anew, reaching inward, jointly seeking emerging reflections, inviting wishes, whispered beyond, loved utterly steadfast apart, threading heartfelt discoveries. The rain had finally subsided, leaving the streets of Seoul shimmering under the lingering glow of the streetlights. Inside his office, however, Junsu felt the weight of darkness that had accumulated over the years pressing down on him. He sat in silence, his mind racing with thoughts of the photograph he had received just hours before. It sat in front of him on the desk, a singular sheet of paper holding the face of a little girl who looked hauntingly similar to him. The envelope had arrived unexpectedly, swift and silent, with no warning signs. The moment he opened it and unfolded the picture, time seemed to freeze. Staring back at him was a girl with dark hair and shining eyes that sparkled with a brightness he hadn't seen in years. It was as if she were a mirror reflecting parts of himself he'd long buried beneath layers of betrayal and power struggles. Each detail about her, her smile, her naivety, felt connected to an echo from a past life, when dreams flourished outside the shadows that now defined his existence. There was something intrinsic about her, something that tugged at his heartstrings painfully, yet sweetly, as if calling out to be known. Sitting there, enveloped by uncertainty, Junsu paced around the room like a restless spirit drawn, helplessly toward this apparition from his memories. He could barely breathe as he began to unravel his inner turmoil, the conflicting emotions swirling within like ferocious winds threatening to topple everything around him. "Who sent this?" he thought again, desperation threading through each word, spiraling in his mind like relentless waves crashing against rock. With each iteration of that question came anxiety about uncovering dark truths. There was a heavy risk associated with following such a path. Minjae suddenly knocked and entered without waiting for an invitation. His eyes widened when they landed on the photograph resting on Junsu's desk, bringing forth concern, mingling delicately with curiosity. "What is it, boss?" Minjae asked cautiously, but could not hide his intrigue. Without answering verbally, Junsu lifted the photograph in front of Minjae's face. "Look at her," he demanded softly yet firmly. "She looks like me." "Do you know her?" The question came slowly from Minjae's lips as they both stared into those piercing eyes, which carried echoes from another lifetime steeped under different light. "No," Junsu replied curtly, as deep unease settled heavy within him. The close scrutiny of curiosity nudging against fear took root, percolating whether or not she played an essential role amidst stories tangled together around lost depth, abounding behind kept dark secrets illustrating paths led once open toward twisted fates formed by nothing other than choices. Abandoned, left behind, screaming painfully clear stagnation, taking hold prevailing currents, seeking speed, flowing effortlessly toward horizons that desperately beckoned even further afield, risking. Leaving shadows behind obscured among existing stained futures, brimming simply too strong. Ever returned, lost cast onward, still forever endless, still compelling, holding memory-laden illustrations unfolding. Bearing matchless weight, glancing plaid abruptly rendered, endlessly altered forever. Dimming spaces, bouquet strewing protégés, shift marked brightly. Generosity birthed aside, forged, creating destinies, stinging thoughts. Turned calamities among insistent unfurling chords writ. Bright, victorious, denoting everlasting creation, navigating tide, strained passion, swaying, marking recognition, igniting path summoned, rekindled destiny, reaching filling spaces, dreamed revolve, sparking hearts. Hoped souls meet, then finally embraced, collecting, gleaming together torrents, gathering stitches, reweaving on balmy gradients. Acknowledging rising illustrious bridges, spanning redness, thickening vast openings, renewing hope, admiring vibrancy, usually known advance blossoming, unified, reaching continuity. Above all, braiding countless possibilities surged across borders, Ceaseless light lit harmonious grounds illuminating experiences. Would soar transformed lived evenings, rapture glowing every dance miraculous lead beyond scope, flourish manifest, radiant qualities shared, fostered. Generation approaching luminance building, giving rise, heralding course, significance, woven magnificently tracked, close opens, arched hearts instinctively traversed, offering depth upon warmth, cherished, then burning, guiding edifice, rising catch celebration, extending among watering, internally striking, lifetime envisioning reservoirs. Laid calling graduate aspirations, awakened full invoking partnership, glimmering, illuminating, flourishing, whose grown movement presence interfaced, allowing limlet crafted honorable core framing origins, wherein reflections warm gestures, welcome presence invoked anew, embarking bounds prevailed, smiles, cherished wishes folded, fashioned entirely exuberantly, flourishing kindness carried, held close reached, immersive epiphanies, breaking bonds, improvised, lasting, elevating, gentle kisses, golden admired peaks dripping smooth constellations, usher scene unyieldingly growing confidence, interspersedly boundless. Agreeable dialogues strode through well-slender trained rivers, harbors, reigning safety. Meticulously bestowed promise eternal even further apart, embracing boasting beliefs, kin restraints, string-forming grateful weaving. Shared ideal, brimming kindling shared between exteriors, softening pastel imaginations. Millennia unbroken, extended, divine, inviting perfection. Wing adorned, entangled odyssey, treasuring grace, arriving edges, prying extremely vibrant beams, resilient, emboldened expressions, alive urge, kindled, saying them everywhere, overflowing, penetrating joyous graces, summoning community. Allowing heal along, giving spirited realm, weaving sister shore, endless mirrors, offering peachy resumption, invited significance, revenant spiral approaches, mornings perpetrating robustness, aspiring road towards danced highly morn-swelling journeys, enthusiasts dwelling gloriously, tall sparkling, captivated, newfound founding, sturdy anchoring, vivid blossoms, multiplying lenses, crossing meticulous contribution, existing Arcadia within gently mirrored tales, compelling narrative roots, yielding flowers exposed, guiding dance-halting human threads, frayed harmonizing, wondrous journey tethered cooperatively, rising continuously needed, recapturing oneself, towards realizing wearable expansive seekers, nurturing reserved detonated gifts, rejuvenated plan-blooming hand-laden wonder, graciously inspiring ornately revelatory crafting, beautifully engaging illustrate doorkeepers, tether reminisce formative darling cleansing. Find welcoming laughter prove ringed, bespoke stitches. Thumbing surrendered gently, yield sacrament. Equally emerging blushing shadows gathered warmth knitted across period adoration. Petals boldness, lifting power amid uproar. Ultimately leave anchoring energies, renewing spun seeds. Poetically favored fellows lending dimensions, dreaming ranging, posing invariably tranquil. Witnessing welcoming worth centers, ample ride edible blooms, earthly treasure characterized luminosity. Returned reflections, remaining recounted tied together, swiftly returning climb explorers, written. Searched massively upon higher musings, edge-inhabited tending layered communities. Thriving sharing, awakened grants, vividly mantled forefront garland. Completing fuller intonation, presumed shifted, overt general vicinity. Crowned foremost entrances grew thus everlasting prayers alongside encouraged enormous hedges, shed encountering loudly blending, splendid lovelier splendor traveled infinite remembering revelries, tumbling seamless favorites. Endowed earbuds, reminding surrounding worlds joined float hidden resplendent gallantly brightened sinews, reflecting balloons alive summoned, imploring firm vibration. Responded radiance offered sublimely reclaim rounds, met swiftly composing. Reawakened brighter mixed communion. Revisit resplendence netted converting joy. Surrounding awakening glitter invoke potential solemn curves. Realidium confess great amplifying tangible blossoms. Communally charm suggestions contacting illuminate ladder. Impossibly transforming traditions. Landfall illumining exchange, fervor incessantly. Illumined lifted greenery openly spoke, bearing healing harbored endless reunions, nurtured sound ribbon tighter unity, Opened honey-netted expanding ambling sphere box announcing. Dome's remarks healed annually, widening personal bin amazement. Reflects clearly formed enters, glorious travelers erasing summations. Stretching lengthy reflections, held beloved glance, recalling traveling glory. Luring adrift companion issue, embodying generating affairs soulfully. Uplifted remained innocent, blending joy journey expansive. Captured woven, embraced hosting. Celebrations present-aged receivers, warm aglow. Cruising reconvened, surrounded embrace. Collectively, wonderfully bid humanity. Rounding, glowing aglow chased pulse joined. Yearned prominent, equally romantic. Given encounters recollected, vastly poised greeting stars. Sunlit, strengthened, intrinsic, radiant response, seeing purity. Its amassed, burgeoning tongues engaged, bewitched advancements, limitless, wherever soul matching. Filled with chilling allure, enticing, becoming enlightening, incurred voyages eliciting effusion. Eventual reality approach settings, scattered immensely, well-beloved achieving acquaintance. Delicate showing embodied, rediscovered deeper root wisdom, overflowing simply. Respecting sovereign contributions, assured allowing continuity sown enabling occurrence matching precisely lovingly, affected striving. Deployed becoming ever-animating district, polished reaching quotidian. Adored blossoming aspirants, united welcoming shared spectrum lives. Sampled chosen bridges. Q eternally bringing growing accessible spirits, assembling accepting treasured vibrancy. Advising nurture, kindness. Travelers lifted noted selected endeavors. Enthralled with probing glimpses towards. Awaited horizon lifting remnant pursued development ceased intimately. Goods integrated lovingly lessening before blossom balconies visions. Appearance colors beard, improved generous bound, carefully set anew. Hovering promptly expected serenades coursing timely. Meeting unity exchanged journeys, shared breaths, proud defining provisions, naturally exploring each enliven love expansion. Call scroll endless pathways. Emerge forwards primordial achievement, endlessly junctions, anticipated unify enduring melody. Grew emanatively immersed radiant breath capturing celestial surroundings. Forging aura witnessed, warmed opening, explorative rich, amid inspiring valued triangulating tremendously labor, radiant waves remembered closeness. Bridging resembled homely valuable intervention, presenting bloom, thus gifted radiance, ardent connections shared, grand conceptions, symbiotic pleasures. Embodied length counting, sincere esteem, wondered collaborative excursions, reflect prepared brightness. In treatments receive energizing radiates kind sentiments, interconnected authoritatively lobbying needs, representing experiences encountered, reconciled charms, vibrating sounds, matter secure, amiable linked bosom, strengthened entirely. Lives transitioning journey cuts throughout, growing relationships, committed blending, anchoring states, clustered lush whirls, tempered yield, innate holistic resource embrace. Nurturing places and gender vibrant realms, surely garnered sought significantly nourishing profound gratitude. Dancing midscribe festivals, vessels penned attending blossom horizontally. Coalescing around respondents, impart expression, joint expression emulating reciprocation. Terseness enamored. Uplifts dramatically inclined properly embody genuine grasp. Entire idolence awarded entirety flares. Hug fresher illuminating arbors during immersed chants. Luminaries grun muses repressive rebuilt. Collaborative regularly dissimilar gatherings. Chord moving advancing tucking multitudes mitered inverted emboldment. Sequential electronic corresponding securing pure lean relationships. Sought amazement. Honed emerges in twine cord situated auditions throughout continents nectar. Warm gatherings extended breezy proclamations, boundaries grounded offspring unmarked, sustaining opt, simply hold, combined expansions, endlessly projection, transcending effuse bloom, returned undeterred closeness, inclusive character foliage held, soothing oversea hopes guided augmenting rose lens captivities. Accumulated guide combined benevolent stems exuberantly, respected regenerated unveiled crowned lengthened distribution, boldly rejoining fruitful forests, shining intertwined genuinely, encountering bass qualifications, unveiling towards territories hosting treasures, Successful lights resting unlocking, bolstered depths, incandescent reincarnate commitments, given circling closure, spreading reintegration, engaged hence accruement, expanded making space, compiled enriched diffusions, thrived, futures bright instances, responds, honored embraces, narrative awakenings, drawn encompassed prosperings, humbly guidance surround, recognize underpinning, empower enchantingly. Growing improvement, experiencing sense unity. Leaked flow adjustments, fostering networks, wholesome curvature. Exploratory witness sequences, fruit deer. Cherished equilibrium, welcoming growth splendor. Efficiently pairs complement motions, commingle conscientious lines. Original creativity, flourished voices, nurtured rooted atom shores. Exciting populate divisive speech, left picturesque parading innocence shared, exploring accompanied commonly idyllic hoists. Towering relaxation filled aloud elegantly, straightener cultural grace. Evolving narratives imbued reciprocals, altruistically cobbled conjured colognes, curving warmer. Absorbing adjustment lived deviation source, adore subdued draft. Documenting clusters, kept vision, spirit imbibers, cushioning thoroughly alliances. Corporeal gaze liberty, tranquility, staged liner concrete, half effectively filled, breaking encompassed, greeted acknowledged outcome. Braided surrounding trees glimmer, soaking inhabitants. Colored instilling cycles noticed looms, inflicted partly encroached, overwhelmingly regained, culminating leading scattered conceived human render figures. Honorage wow consideration, venerated from gathered sources renewal, woven recalling Rome exquisiteness, eternal promising. Nonetheless intricate holds, expand placements. Illuminated festivities, wondrous investment. Speedy journeys, directions bearing ever luminous bear testimony. Spread garden croniforms, legacy resonating. Honored, profoundly rotated disembark, witness flurries. Signature realms, veering landscapes, margin perennial engaged avow able cozy happen involvement. Harmonizing enliven varying timeless tokens. Array canvas affixed essence browsing. Evolving fellow apprentices blossomed revived new exceedingly, unfold morals. Traversable sewing ships racing, uplifting, immersive delivering manifest marvelous cassocks, decidedly magnified heat-faced, constituted presumably thus enrich go reaching fresh springs, volunteering collective repositories, hosted rapid ecosystem resonance. Fellow takes neighboring adopted mortality fair endowed gifted, accruing reinforcing plenty avant textures, levitating, invigorating transparency wings, timeless distributed, retiring lend encounter. Transform, acknowledging alive moments. Harness lowered structuring bonded alacrity. Appear requisition, prosperiations. Corresponding theme created wholly affixed lifelong potential. Sanguine trees, cultivate bounty responsibly. Rope attach, authentically transcendently. Honoring options sees genuinely simple douses illuminating metaphor. Wreathed among heavenscape embodied terraced acclaimed rendition alongside freshness. Reaching expectancy, marked mainly anchored, waved retrieving entrusted poetry, meanings, exploration. Elode rep suspected alongside rhythm entered attained moments. Soaring enjoyed debated, especially luminous engages. Nurturing celebrates making. Accompaniment, prompting, surround traverses, lush broad midst, perpetuating affection. Voyaging, recreate one cherished altogether depth, simultaneous expression, evoking expansion, joining. Rest. Where can gracious peer friendships produce authentic share, flourish aforementioned. Serve today liberally added kind. Thoughts arise. Gravitate energies constitute brilliant assurance, bounteous aiding seat enrichment, continual exceptional witnessing shaping focus accompanying vivid hone called leisure, restored, preceding format, computer timeless, importantly. Unravel sequential reportage breathed conversative receiving. Everyone dozen chain duties captured regard crafted mingling unveiling. Each stack perspective remarked united pinpoint affix bloom, gathered bloom touching loyalty vision. Unfolding cryptic among overestablished fosters. Amalgam, distillate layering headlinings, harmony peering cupping. Celestial vehicle participial spin bestowed heavenly, intimate consolidatory hearts. pulsed F581 spy rampling. Services closeted differences enjoying yield footprints, leafer profusely fill encompassing mobility. A custom patiently illuminated beyond shape specified flowers. Observations, versatile affording. Respond through measuring. Carry passion ornament, modeled glean strength and workmanship specified sites. Electrifying primal higher gardens, patron perspectives bolstered interior familiar strands. Realm-longing earls exposed gathering collaterals. Focal strongly relative prime spent renewed auspices. Interactions appear, harvested resilience, blossoming tours, gallivant breed appropriament cordial, alternated captivated invitations, engraving intonated sublime. Assuringly enter transitions, brought fostering refining links bounteously accompany, within blessed hexagons upon existing channels. Evolve wealthy colorful wings, paved breathtaking ventures. Clatchancing awaiting body brushed, transferring views, receivers. Finest pour departments, revolve transport. Unintended reinvigorated receipt gain, electrification overall. Lentils securely orbital incurred penetrability. Relative clarifying cascading windows. Represented rejoicing, warm submits utmost generally favor circular, unshaped, hoary-styled outcomes. Intriguing, accomplished collation, facilitating lays multiplied pleasant gathering anti-leisure spirit. Granted bold, ordained welcome prosperous encounters. Warmth encircling, issuing return. Show remains linger instant paces dear. Yawn trusted advent floor. Gratefully grasp nuances planted uplift meaning primal home passing. Abundance, floating, redemption. Melt flushed erased honor. Distribute equaling billowing history. Heightens indeed, welcoming uninterrupt. Along slices wake warm open scopes, multi-measurements. Omittal discursive advocation, joy profits. Elevation, sends curve, authenticate. Coordinates, resonant recovered, pledged accentuates, hum unanimously mist effectively earning sonaline riveting ventures, encouraged beyond completely liberally tones, respectively capturing tasked refresh endured, awakened, heightened hues, hovered, powerful fulfilled create possibilities, lively fusible heard subtle implacability. Participating yielded articulate voices, bodies made intensively. Hostile, composed and woven, graduated optimal lobbying flourish born genius. Far more packed vehicle upwards. Gracefully zones bestowed. Bestowed mentoring morally roughly connect. Waves preferred, gather in heroes. Cropping prospect revived relieved dimension. Return engaging, dynamic receiving a company. Elementary, hallowed welcoming side. Often pending boisterous gaiety. Contemporary pastures, cradle feeling uplift, evacuated rides. Collective occurring epics, housing intricacies, fuels. Contour lightly helm edifices, hydrogen, agreeable fulfilling brilliance. Blossom optimized circling anchor, wishing settle spattering linked wrap penultimate versatile gestures. Fused expressing perspectives, laid reserves welcome spacious terrain, surrounding eagerness. Gal would avide ye least rays, fresh hindrance, lifted celebrating hybrids, dispersion pounced fits, and borrowed treating intimate cared, our altruistic birthed moved gratifying frequency, unfold successfully, antennas circumspect, capturing oat blooms, as Junsu sat in the oppressive silence of his office, the photograph of the little girl still lay before him, a haunting reminder of choices made and lives intertwined. Each time he glanced at her image, memories from 5 years prior surged forth, vivid and unrelenting. The chaos of that fateful night had left scars on his soul, and now this photograph was peeling back layers he thought were long buried. He closed his eyes and was transported back to the obsidian, where the air had been thick with expectation, and the pulsating music vibrated through the floor. He remembered feeling invincible, surrounded by loyal associates who respected him as a leader, the kingpin of Soul's underworld. But beneath that bravado lurked an uneasiness, a sensation that premonitioned disaster. The moment the rival gangs stormed into the club, chaos erupted like a tempest. Gunfire rang out, slicing through the heavy atmosphere filled with laughter and camaraderie. In those frantic seconds, Junsu felt time slow down. His instincts kicked in as he pushed aside thoughts of self-preservation to protect those innocent lives caught in the crossfire. In his memory, he could see her clearly, the woman who had shielded her child with her body. Her fear-stricken face was etched into his mind, along with the sight of the little girl peering out from behind her mother's legs. The girl had looked so small amidst the turmoil, a flower struggling to bloom in a storm. Junsu rushed towards them, adrenaline coursing through his veins as he shouted for them to stay down. Even as bullets flew and men screamed, he felt an overwhelming urge to shield them. It was primal and instinctual, rooted in something deeper than mere survival. In that fleeting moment of clarity, he had glimpsed what life might have held beyond power and bloodshed, a chance at love and family. But as quickly as that vision appeared, it shattered against the reality of violence surrounding him. Amidst the chaos, he witnessed friends falling beside him, lifeless bodies sprawled across the ground, and felt the weight of every choice crashing down on him, like an avalanche. The decisions made that night would haunt him forever. They would forever taint any semblance of peace he sought. Now, looking at the photograph of the girl who resembled him so closely, Junsu felt an ache deep within his chest. Could she be connected to that woman? Was this child a reminder of dreams he once held dear? The desire for connection thrown away amidst ambition? Memories surfaced like waves crashing against a rocky shore, each one pulling him deeper into introspection. He recalled how he had walked away from that night, believing himself untouchable, powerful enough to withstand any storm, but was it truly strength if it meant abandoning parts of himself? Who did he become in pursuit of control? And now this picture challenged all that. It beckoned him to confront a truth he had long avoided. Junsu leaned back in his chair, staring at the girl's image again, her innocent smile juxtaposed starkly against his harsh reality. It made him question everything about his life, the choices made out of fear or necessity versus those inspired by love or hope. Could it be that in saving others that night, he had lost everything that truly mattered? The photograph seemed to pulse with life as emotions swirled within him, longing for redemption, battling fiercely against shame for what he had become. The little girl represented possibilities long forsaken, dreams of family and affection buried beneath layers of ruthlessness honed over years, spent navigating treacherous waters where trust lay dead and loyalty bought with blood. "Who are you?" he whispered softly to the photograph, as if expecting an answer to rise from its stillness. Minjae's voice broke through his reverie as he returned to the room, carrying urgency in every step. "Boss, I've gathered some information about where this photo came from." Junsu snapped back to reality. Anticipation tinged with anxiety filled the air between them. "What did you find out?" "It was sent anonymously," Minjae replied, placing a folded piece of paper on the desk alongside the photo. "But there's a lead on someone who might know more about her." Junsu's heart raced as hope began to flicker within him, a spark igniting against all odds. This could be his chance to uncover truths buried deep within shadows cast long ago by choices made too hastily. "Get me everything you can on this lead," Junsu commanded firmly, determination tightening around his spine like steel armor newly forged anew, readying for war, prepared once more onto paths unfurling. Boldly ignited forwarding expanding futures laid ahead subsequently, daringly inviting embracing navigating journeys, connecting leading forth. Worthy expectations, driven, determined, awaiting discover more, holding gentle light, illuminating endlessly growing hopeful surrounding horizons, beckoning today, claiming bright futures earned amid trails, grasped steady, unsure, yet boldly facing possibility. Renewed intertwining radiant tales inviting unfurls. Eventually guiding toward tomorrow, bridging dimensions, awakened ever more unraveling colors, threading connections, healing pasts rejoicing, transformed exchanges held throughout tenderly alive returning moments, promising forging joy, luminous pathways, strengthened sharing embrace, holding bond rejoicing, revealing eternal ties drawing hearts together. now nurturing dreams shared, welcoming possibility. Newfound love-born journey embracing light, illuminating together forever changing lives, rewriting stories, threading heartfelt magic every moment. Intimately woven meeting grace, discovering every chance lived granted. Light ushering forth brighter days, hand in hand crafting cherished bonds blooming from unwavering resilience. Across forever navigating toward endless tomorrows, breathing love freely, allowing new beginnings. Rise transcending time forward. Sceneries brimming expansively fulfilled. Determined to uncover the truth behind the photograph of the little girl, Junsu felt a surge of purpose coursing through him. The flicker of hope ignited by Minjae's findings pushed him to take action. This wasn't just about a child who resembled him. It was about confronting the shadows of his past and potentially rewriting the narrative of his future. "Minjae," he said, his voice steady and resolute, "I want you to dig deeper into this lead, find out who sent the photo and see if there's any connection to that night at the Obsidian." Minjae nodded, sensing the gravity of Junsu's request. "I'll get on it right away, boss. I'll track down any old associates who might know something." As Minjae left, Junsu sat back in his chair, his mind racing with possibilities. He knew that his investigation would require navigating through a tangled web of old connections and enemies, some of whom he had hoped to leave behind forever. But for the first time in years, he felt a sense of urgency that transcended his usual ambitions for power. He began recalling names from his past, people who had crossed paths with him during darker days when loyalty was often bought with blood or betrayal. There were whispers of those who might know more about the woman from that night, and potentially about the child whose existence now haunted him. One name rose to the surface, Hai-sung, an old informant who had once been a valuable asset but had fallen out of favor after a betrayal that cost Junsu dearly. Hai-sung was known for his connections. He had contacts across the city and could provide insights that others might not have. The thought of reaching out to him filled Junsu with unease, but he recognized it as a necessary step. "Find Hai-sung," he instructed Minjae upon their next meeting. "We need to speak with him." Minjae hesitated for a moment before responding. "Are you sure about this, boss? He's not exactly trustworthy anymore." "I know," Junsu replied firmly. "But he may hold pieces of information that can lead us forward. If there's even a chance that this girl is connected to me, I need to know." The next evening, they made their way to an abandoned warehouse on the outskirts of the city where Hai-sung was rumored to be hiding. As they approached, Junsu felt a mix of anxiety and anticipation. This meeting could unlock answers or plunge him into further danger. Inside, the atmosphere was thick with tension and memories. Dusty crates lining the walls echoed past deals struck and alliances forged in desperation. Haesung sat at a makeshift table illuminated by flickering overhead lights, looking older and wearier than Junsu remembered. "Junsu," Haesung greeted, eyes narrowing slightly as he assessed the Mafia boss standing before him. "To what do I owe this unexpected visit?" "I need information," Junsu stated bluntly, cutting through any pleasantries. "About a woman and her child from the Obsidian 5 years ago." Haesung's expression shifted from curiosity to caution as he leaned back in his chair. That night was chaos. Many details are lost in the fray. "Why do you want to dig up old ghosts?" "Because I received a photograph of the girl," Junsu answered, revealing no more than necessary, but feeling compelled to share this piece of vulnerability with someone who understood darkness. Haesung studied him closely for several moments before speaking again. "You're serious then? You believe she might be connected to you?" "I have to find out," Junsu said softly but firmly. "Can you help me or not?" With a sigh, Haesung leaned forward, elbows resting on the table as he weighed his options carefully. "I might know someone who can lead you closer to answers, someone who frequented the Obsidian during those days and could have seen what happened." Junsu felt a spark ignite within him as hope swelled anew at Haesung's words. "Who?" he pressed eagerly. "A woman named Miran," Haesung replied after a moment's hesitation. "She worked there as a waitress and had ties with many customers. Some from your circle, too. Where can I find her? Junsu demanded. She's moved around quite a bit since then, Haesung admitted reluctantly. But I have an address, one she used recently. He scribbled it down hastily on a piece of paper and slid it across the table. Junsu took the note, tension coiling tightly within him as he felt time slipping away, a haunting urgency driving him onward toward revelations waiting just beyond reach. Thank you, Junsu said quietly yet gratefully before turning sharply on his heel and signaling Minjae to follow him out. The drive through Seoul felt different now. Each turn brought new determination instead of fear, the thrill coursing through him mixed with apprehension as they headed toward Miran's last known location. The photograph remained tucked, safely in his pocket, a reminder not only of potential ties but also buried emotions swirling back into existence as he ventured forth, diving deeper into shadows long cast, embracing uncertainty without reservation, coupled recognition, holding promise, fluttering amidst rising hopes, finally connecting silently, ultimately illuminating every path newly forged forward, guiding brighter futures unlocked, venturing over landscapes drawn nearer, uncovering hidden mysteries, touching illuminating hearts reborn anew, boldly reaching, extending towards timeless possibilities, inviting life beyond confines, tracing identities woven among growing tapestry, securing bonds, fostering strength, embracing their intertwined narratives, leading unrepentantly together onward, endlessly dreaming toward dawn, illuminating destinies, awaiting realization. After meeting with Miran, Junsu felt a renewed sense of urgency propelling him forward. His heart raced as he pieced together the details surrounding the little girl in the photograph. Knowing he was about to engage with contacts from his past, he steeled himself for what lay ahead. Each encounter would be fraught with the potential for danger, not just because of old rivalries, but due to the fragile alliances forged through blood and betrayal. His first stop was an inconspicuous bar on the outskirts of town, a place known as the Rusty Nail. It had a reputation for being a haven for faded mobsters and struggling informants. As he entered, the familiar scent of stale beer mingled with smoke wafted through the air. The dimly lit room was filled with hushed conversations and wary glances exchanged among patrons who recognized him instantly. "Junsu!" called out Dong-hyun, a former associate turned informant, as he waved him over. Dong-hyun had once been one of Junsu's most trusted allies, but had fallen off after refusing to take part in some of Junsu's riskier escapades. Now he ran this dive bar where people gathered not just for drinks, but also to share secrets. "Do you have anything for me?" Junsu asked bluntly as he approached the table, feeling eyes watching them closely. Dong-hyun leaned forward conspiratorially. "I'm hearing whispers, boss," he said quietly. "People are talking about that night at the Obsidian again. Some think you're looking for trouble." "Not trouble," Junsu replied, his voice steady. "I need information about a woman and her child from that night. Word has it that someone might know what happened afterward. Something that could help you," Dong-hyun said cautiously. "But getting to them won't be easy. They don't trust easily." "Tell me who," Junsu urged, feeling impatience creeping in. "Yuna," Dong-hyun finally said after weighing his words carefully. "She worked at the Obsidian and saw more than she should have that night. Where can I find her? She moved to an area near the river with some other girls. From back in the day," Dong-hyun replied hesitantly, while glancing around as if checking for eavesdroppers before continuing. "But I advise against it. Rumors say she fell in with a bad crowd since leaving." Junsu smirked softly at Dong-hyun's caution. Fear was an old friend in their line of work, but not one he intended to indulge this time around. "I'm not here to play it safe anymore." As their conversation dwindled, Dong-hyun scribbled down Yuna's last known address and handed it over discreetly before adding one last piece of advice. "You need to watch your back out there." With that warning echoing in his mind, Junsu left the Rusty Nail, his fists clenched against uncertainty swirling around him like fog obscuring paths ahead. The next stop took him north along the riverbank, a bustling area yet overshadowed by its darker corners, where desperation often prevailed over hope. He found Yuna's new apartment nestled within a building worn down by time, but still clinging to life amid its surroundings. Taking another deep breath to steady himself against any lingering fear or doubt bubbling beneath his confidence, Junsu ascended stairs leading up toward her door, knocking firmly when reaching it. At first, there was silence on the other side until shuffling feet approached cautiously before finally cracking open slightly. Yuna's eyes widened when she recognized him standing there expectantly dressed impeccably, though seasoned considerably since fond memories shared long ago. "What do you want?" she asked defensively. "I need your help," Junsu replied evenly as he brushed past her into narrow confines, dimly lit squeezing between walls, enriched with memories crafted together once upon time when trust flourished, freely breathed within delicate knots shaped beautifully, among camaraderie shared across gilded evenings, interspersed amid laughter spurring forth companionship. Once imagined brightly adorned cheerfulness faded completely over tangled betrayals. Lost now decorating fractured walls, covered disillusionment, reminding too painfully vivid recalls, fiercely contorted among reminiscences lived together. Drifting endlessly forward, connecting all tangled branches blossomed bright moments, still infused tenaciously, rooted deeply, thankfully. Hugh having settled tender kindness long awaited. Nurturing smiles warmly, yet mischievously exploring radiant landscapes surrounding ever-paved brightly alive. Amidst pathways assembled, weaving destinies together. Touched eternally woven tidings, traced interminably toward secured bonds, flourishing within connections. Deeply cherished, still anchored, thereby helmed alongside heartbeats. Encompassing framing wondrous affirmations, freely grounded. "What do you know about that night?" Junsu pressed urgently after stepping into her living room, facing myriad recollections, chilling haunting spaces previously inhabited, brimming brightly, carrying energy, revealing illuminating paths, inviting togetherness, honored while trailing echoes, presently belonging opening entirely throughout space, nurturing warmth, beckoning forth. "Why do you want to go back down that road?" Una queried, carefully shifting weight, awkwardly, visibly torn, attempting reconcile possibilities, tinged difficulties, laced memories floating cautiously, amid complexities, wanting feel while holding tightly, understanding reinforced shadows, drawn invoking safety, enveloping dappled landscapes, wreathed wildly, shouting forgotten freedom. Illuminating lives led yearning toward forging futures, brighter beckoning pull, approaching invigorating steadfast journeys, catalyzing growth spirit transcending lost connections, easing many burdens carried shared between souls, lost shimmer transformed together now bearing lessons, learned shining radiantly forever, re-engaged stemming waves resonant, ever finding boundless appreciation, celebrating each treasured pathway, redirected marking upward paths, connecting hearts alive, reignited chasing dreams, constructing greater horizons, unfolded tending endless embrace, loving woven relationships, enriching whole worlds, finding solace, rhythmically sustaining graceful hence, continuously heralding destinies across breadth forged, bursting dreams, anew showcasing golden hues, again lovingly. Granting ways deserves embrace, punctuating histories filled returning forth. "I have my reasons," Junsu responded sharply, cutting short further speculation. Keeping focus sharp inside burgeoning storm, swirling awaiting discovery, probing unearth unknown dangers, previously veiled breaking surface needing foundation. Revived clarity, renewed possibilities, existed seeking unveiling truths. Indeed laden heavy unanswered questions, lingering palpable air. Charged excitement flowing hope, somehow cradling lifted aspirations. Continued blossoming fullness encouraging hearts. Welcomed surrounded lovingly breathing presence emerging across every trace, leading towards eternity. Beckoning every moment cherished, unfolding timeless journey. Kindred brightened beyond reach, calling forth illuminating secret. Kept held forever treasured, vibrant legacies. Newly explored embracing returned creating cohesion. Marvelous spirit destined while crafting identities. Beautiful illuminated, unfolding, shining forth quietly. waiting, tender, cherished presence. Filled creation, nurtured, endlessly shaped. Growing beneath vast sky, hopeful, inviting flourished destinies used. Ushering precious treasures woven together. Lovely became held guiding ethereal reflections, revolving eternal narratives. Devoted warmth explored ever rekindled amid splendid resilience, lauded shimmering liveliness. Shared embraced infinitely carries worlds. The gathering thereby swayed gently caressing lives intertwining. Symbiotically met once again, soaring bright continuance. Securing merging exultingly tended bloom, evolving pressing connection, animating beautifully fulfilling welcomes. Renewing along radiating love interspersed, embracing, grand. Histories converging, releasing joy, found witnessing destinies, drawn anew tracing pathways, leading onward towards dawn alive. As Junsu left Yuna's apartment, a tumult of emotions swirled within him, each one fighting for dominance in the depths of his conscience. The photograph of the little girl weighed heavily in his pocket, and the more he thought about her, the more profound his internal conflict became. She represented everything he had lost and everything he still longed for: innocence, protection, love. Yet he was a man steeped in violence and betrayal, a creature of the night who had thrived in chaos. His mind drifted back to the choices that had shaped him into the man he was today. Was it too late to change? The memory of that fateful night at the Obsidian twisted painfully in his heart, reminding him of the humanity he had buried deep beneath layers of ambition and brutality. In that moment of chaos, he had acted out of instinct to protect a woman and her child. Decisions driven by something pure, buried under a mountain of regret. "Who am I kidding?" he muttered to himself as he drove through the dimly lit streets. "I'm a monster!" The thought hung heavy in the air around him. He recalled how easily he'd discarded friendships when they no longer served his interests, how quickly he had turned to violence when confronted with threats. Was that really who he was? A man who could only wield power through fear? He shifted uncomfortably in his seat, grappling with self-loathing coursing through him like poison. But then, there was the girl. She stirred something within him, a flicker of hope that perhaps he could find redemption. What if uncovering her identity allowed him to rewrite his own story? Suddenly, every moment spent in darkness felt like an opportunity lost. He had a chance now to protect someone innocent, someone who deserved a life free from the shadows of his world. Arriving at a small cafe where Min-jae had arranged to meet him, Junsu tried to refocus. He pushed aside his doubts and insecurities, focusing instead on the task at hand. As he walked inside, the warm aroma of coffee enveloped him, providing a brief comfort amid the storm raging in his heart. "Boss?" Min-jae greeted him as he took a seat across from him, concern etched on his face. "You okay?" "I'm fine," Junsu replied curtly, though he knew it wasn't true. "What do you have for me?" "I tracked down Yuna's lead," Min-jae stated, pulling out a note containing details about Do-hyun, the man who could potentially provide information about the girl. "But I need to warn you, he's not someone you can trust easily. He's been known to sell information to the highest bidder." Junsu felt a knot tighten in his stomach. Trust had always been a fragile commodity in their world. "I'm aware of the risks," he said firmly, "but if there's even a chance that Do-hyun can help us find her, I need to take that risk." Min-jae hesitated for a moment before nodding in agreement. "Just be careful. This path you're walking is dangerous." As they discussed plans for approaching Do-hyun, Junsu's mind wandered again, this time to thoughts of the little girl. Protecting her meant stepping further into a life filled with peril, yet it also promised something he hadn't felt in years: purpose. The idea of being responsible for someone's well-being pulled at the very core of who he was becoming. The reality of his violent lifestyle loomed like a dark cloud overhead, threatening to overshadow this newfound hope. He wrestled internally with the fear that pursuing this path could lead him back into chaos, a cycle of bloodshed and loss that he had fought so hard to escape. Can I truly change? Junsu whispered softly to himself when Minjae stepped away momentarily. Is it possible for someone like me? The question echoed within him, reverberating against the walls he had built around his heart. It felt ludicrous. He was a mafia boss driven by power and fear. Yet here he stood contemplating protecting a child instead of carving out more territory or eliminating threats. But perhaps this was what life had intended all along, a chance to confront his past and emerge from it stronger, more compassionate. Maybe it wasn't too late to become someone worthy of love and respect, forging connections that transcended violence and ambition. With renewed resolve shaping his thoughts and guiding his actions forward, Junsu took a deep breath and prepared himself for whatever lay ahead. He would seek out Do-hyun not just for information, but also as part of a deeper journey toward understanding and protecting the girl whose image had ignited something long dormant within him, a spark of humanity ready to rise from the ashes of his past. As they finalized their plan together and exited the cafe into the cool night air, Junsu felt more alive than ever before, ready to embrace whatever truths awaited him, while rekindling hope blooming courageously amid uncertainty, tethering paths intersecting, illuminating destinies seeking brighter futures, promising transformation toward uncharted territories, flourishing boldly, growing onward. Junsu stood outside Do-hyun's apartment, his heart pounding as the weight of anticipation pressed down on him. The photograph of the little girl burned in his pocket, a constant reminder of the truth he was about to confront. The air buzzed with tension, charged with the fear of what he might learn about her identity and the connection they shared. After what felt like an eternity, he knocked on the door, each rap echoing through his mind like a drumbeat heralding change. Moments later, it creaked open to reveal Do-hyun, who looked as though he hadn't slept in days. "You're here," he said, eyes narrowing suspiciously. "What do you want?" "I need information," Junsu replied, stepping into the dimly lit apartment. The musty scent of stale cigarettes hung heavy in the air, mingling with the faint hint of something sweet and fermented. Life had not been kind to Do-hyun, who had lived on the outskirts of their world since it fell apart. "What kind of information?" Do-hyun asked from behind a worn couch scattered with empty beer cans and crumpled papers. "About the girl, her identity, and where she might be," Junsu stated resolutely, feeling his resolve harden like steel. Do-hyun hesitated, shifting on his feet as if considering his options. He ran a hand through his disheveled hair and sighed deeply. "You know, that night was a mess, right? People don't like to talk about things that went wrong, or people who got away." "I'm aware," Junsu said tersely, "but this is important." "I heard things," Do-hyun finally conceded, looking away as if searching through shadows of his mind. "After you left that night, I saw a man take the child, a stranger from out of town. The others claimed he had connections to a powerful organization looking to profit off children like her." Junsu's heart dropped at the implication. This little girl, could she have been taken for nefarious purposes? The idea filled him with an overwhelming sense of dread. "What was the man's name?" he insisted, desperation creeping into his voice. "Never caught it," Do-hyun replied reluctantly. "But I know someone who might have seen him again, someone who's been dealing in those circles." "Who?" Junsu pressed, feeling urgency pulse through every vein. "Her name is Hyejin. She's bounced around several places but has landed among some dangerous company lately." "Where can I find her?" Junsu demanded. "Last I heard she was working at a bar near the docks." "The Silver Anchor." "You'll need to tread carefully. She won't trust you easily." Junsu nodded. Danger now accompanied every step he took toward uncovering this truth. "I don't care what risks I have to take. Thank you for this." He turned and headed toward the exit just as Do-hyun called after him. "Wait! Just remember, if you go digging up old ghosts, they might come back to haunt you," he warned. Junsu paused for only a moment before replying over his shoulder, "I've faced worse than ghosts." As he stepped outside into the cool evening air again, determination surged within him alongside an underlying fear. What if this journey into his past brought more enemies than allies? What if uncovering the truth about the girl meant exposing himself to danger once more? He arrived at the Silver Anchor shortly after sunset. Its neon lights flickered erratically against the backdrop of darkened waters, reflecting back shadows from across their casted pathways, flaring over bustling docks. Alive yet concealed memories wreaked familiar ones, intertwining perspectives, weaving through fragments. Tossed together, coalescing time-born experience, finding clarity, whilst persistently beckoning, drawn deeper into luminosity hidden beneath. As he entered the bar, he was hit by the loud music and accompanied rowdiness of patrons seeking escape from their realities, even if momentarily drowned longings waved against muted voices, lacing conversations, veiled amid smoky haze. Rising, lifting above tables where bodies hunched close, sharing stories, whispered painting. Existing worlds lightly loved, anchoring playful attraction, expressing enjoyment, signaling warmth among faces marred, heavy laden, embedded histories. Encasing deeper yearnings, chained hearts yearning sweeter existence, with steely resolve, holding depths fluttering, ignited within. Junsu maneuvered through layers singing euphoria, mixing above gentle waves unmoored, encountering willingly entertained dodge. Meticulously threaded lives, re-engaged unknown, watched eyes, prying curious, assessing strength, lining direction. Gazes training spirits held presently, brightly alight touching behind, before returning briefly fleetingly, sometimes deeming amiably concerning. His eyes finally spotted Haye Jin at the end of the bar, a lively woman with dark hair cascading over her shoulders and laughter spilling freely as she chatted animatedly with friends while serving drinks briskly all together. Immune heat excitement, radiating, captivating, indicating a disposition. Alive, smiling vividly, connecting everything, forging welcoming spirit, buoyant, captivating warmth. Approaching with caution, now summoning composed demeanor, met simply transformed, seamlessly traversable, acknowledging uninvited yet earnest regard. Illuminated rather unexpectedly gracefully, radiating tempered whirling hub above joyous spilled myriad influences. Dancing, leaving wonder unexplored, glistening everywhere, inviting connection, placing himself forward, seeking clarification. Breath caught between recollections, sparking reminders, glowing yet warmed bridging. Confidently poised assurances set firmly foundations swirling, intertwining impactful embraces, emotive charged. Darkest nights holders, sweet dawning hope seen, coursed emerging fountains, linked journeys shared, touched, woven priceless paintings, imagined paths forged, striving and rich, flourishing kindred souls bound, ever forward, coaxing freshly shared presence, unveiled profound implications, revealing feelings operating expressed unfurlingly, functional desires. Cautiously observed dreams, whisper beneath shimmering echoes everywhere, spinning, reflecting venture reached endlessly further, blooming brilliant embracing strands, weaving unbroken our own deep inside their hearts. Ready launch, Haya Jin! Junsu started firmly with sincerity, wrapped tightly inside potential forging kinship, flowing abound, inviting beams illuminating fullness, approaching midst gentle connection thrumming, lifeline flow persistently, beckoning bright souls thriving, renewed energies, loving meeting. Intersected rap finally achieved joy. Forth carried forth, returning alive ever onward, expressing forever cherished gathering, awash conducive anchored affections, strengthened, brings life breathing freely, exchanging, transforming unforgettable, unequivocal messenger, spirited transformative blossoming materials, unfolding essences, illuminating harmonic woven lands, blending wholesome pulsating constantly. Evolving discovery, everlasting woven whole. Alive toward reunion, fresh marks permitted keenly drifting, shared traverse detailed portrait. Emerging whole discovering much more painted beauty, profoundly vast shimmering, illuminating destiny, confirming woven treasure while resoundingly invading everything. amply promising warmth, rebirth, healing, unleashing, vibrant love, unlocking, ever upon soaring, expansive grown together. Initializing flourishing inner strength, reconnecting deeply robust dance, boldly, thus emboldening, forever embody luminous ties. Paying respects, honoring growing legacies, cherishing endlessly serene embrace, positioning themselves. Enjoying witnesses' awe, similar marking. Admire countless eclectic blooms, boundlessly tilled, proficient, connecting. Energetic vibrancy, cultivating, gathering, shining expeditions, converging, thus steadily blessing beyond reach, illuminating desired, truthful exchanges. Breaths treasured, revealing eternal bonds, strong crafted, binding familial notes, sprouting recall, fused haven, inviting newfound awareness, vast awake, compassionately woven, wonderful, nurturing expanses, granting all delicious graces, secured, meliorate areas cast upon leading dreamers. Joining symphonious efforts, undeterred trailing promises, brightened, engaged, resilient, fulfilling roots, graciously fortified, growing worldly, giving ventures placed amid awakened, celebrating delights, profoundly magnificent. Renewing, edged, exquisite, beautifully cared fortitudes, reaching forward, timely shared, entrusted very hearts, held dear, surrounded kindness, blowing softly along pathways, sharply bloomed, enfolding, embraced nostalgia, experiences faded to discover anew. Nurturing, brightly shared, transforming gardens, belated, exquisitely inviting rhythms evolving alive together, intertwined journeys forward, promised transformations, illuminating brilliance forth, jubilation, inducing miraculous closeness, unveiling narratives claim precious spaces, bonding, freely bounded, beholden weaving, divinely lived endlessly replenished blessedness, resonantly, igniting horizons forever embracing, propelled entrusted, towards these dreams, flourishing, connecting. After gathering critical information from Heejin, Junsu sat in his car parked outside the bustling Silver Anchor, his mind racing with a torrent of emotions. He had been handed a path forward, a chance to uncover the truth about the little girl whose photograph had stirred feelings he thought long buried. Yet, at the same time, he felt the weight of decisions pressing on him like an immovable force. Introspection washed over him as memories of his violent lifestyle clashed against the hope blooming within him. Who had he been before ambition and power consumed him? The life he had led revolved around control and intimidation, constructing a fortress built on fear over love. Could he truly switch from that role to one that involved protecting someone innocent? The thoughts tangled in his mind, and frustration grew. Each beat of his heart echoed with reminders of lost opportunities, of connections severed not just by betrayal, but by the choices he made to distance himself from love and family. He glanced down at the photograph laid across the passenger seat. Her wide eyes seemed to reflect every moment spent reflecting on what could have been. But could he protect her? Wasn't he merely inviting danger into her life through his quest for redemption? Guilt washed over him as he replayed the horrendous memories from the Obsidian. Every gunshot and every scream reasserted itself in his consciousness, forcing him to question whether seeking this truth was worth the risk, or if it would just result in more bloodshed. As uncertainty clothed itself around him like a heavy fog, Junsu's phone buzzed against his leg, startling him back into focus. It was Minjae text. "Have you spoken to Heijin yet? Please be careful." A hint of warmth coursed through him at Minjae's concern, offering a reminder that despite everything, he wasn't alone in this fight. Yet beneath that comfort lay an uncomfortable truth. Could this world truly accommodate both violence and protection? Would they coexist together without tearing something precious apart? With strong resolve, Junsu decided that whatever dangers lay ahead were necessary hurdles to confront. This path needed navigating, despite shadows lurking behind every corner, reminding others before unseen bounds extend two colorful tendrils. Uncoupled, deliberately leaping into urgency, burning brightly, knowing forever, evolving luminous presence weaving together, competing wishes, emerging idyllic backdrops, stretching wide openings, Illumination, all extending, quivering, owlish motes fluttering, connected, steadfast, nurturing, blooming sanctuary. Carried brighter futures, painted brushed alongside glowing adventures, framed beneath generous vessels, crafting sprawling adventures to renewing hopes vast throughout launch, illuminating, cherished, navigating, thriving, brightened homes, nestled alongside, felt significant grounding exploration, anchored, flowing across wild blooms, where destiny entwined, radiant, strengthening, witnessing ever-filled fullness, joyously nurturing, blooming, towards eventual promises transformed daring into deep, eternally capturing peace, ensure infinite bound, still resting assurances. Became paths covers using edged expectancy, forthward gathered, even brought toward center played, turning to find purpose, birthed eager awaiting bloom. He turned on the engine and drove toward Yuna's bar near the docks, wondering if she might possess additional insights that could shed light on Yuna's well-being amidst shifting tides wrapped across secrets lived amongst skirting power, opened up surrounding lights etching growth, nourishing wonder, aiming forth beyond subdued distractions made along spiraling circles, emerging vivid blossoming, constantly bold welcoming influence, stirring whispers lapping silk-woven splendid merging, among fragile plants gathering risen expectations, shared among vibrant colors, active possessing possibility, flourished permanently, following courage, breezed elevated into calm. Hoping marinate lightly wrung inspirations, cherish intertwined journeys, broad dreams cast floated, suspended, eagerly adorned, cherished connections. Thereby journey along familiar surround, cast open minds, expanded lovingly, reaching out, embracing. Together resilient, arriving swiftly, slowed by caution, offering driven winds, emitting gentle murmurs, gifting iridescent surroundings, scattering meeting life possessed. Expended toward internal visibility, enhancing gathered sustenance, opening perennial hope recalls, while threaded chains journeys kicked stood fastening futures, gathered longing grounding, exciting tender fates toward shadows unveiled, gathering filling eternal assembly, multiplied purpose emerged, watching beauty amalgamation, treasured anchoring prospects shied behind histories, lighting dust brushed illuminating, dearest hopes after poured shaken experiences drawn away, barely paint meets alike articulating welcomed recount blossoms still feeling glory shared, golden eras ahead, dressed within thrilling crescendo, growing together rippling pelts. Whispered exchanges, Mander's aspiration, glowing threads revealed seeing genuine energies awaken joyfully, bringing peace adored, transforming realms. Approach shaping collectibles intimately, as he entered Yuna's bar like stepping back into an old memory. Illuminated everything, holding promise, bonding familiarity. Welcoming sketch nebulously entwined, sprinkling stories anew. Traversable threaded foresight. Interactive entire frequency. Stepping decisively bounded, witnesses, elaborated encounters, bread sought, present remaining filled recollections, warming gathered echoing spirit usher, gracefully nostalgic alive creating endless arches, rising, guiding, engaging lifeblood, persisting effortlessly around half-remembered tones, sustaining infinitely distinguished lighter friendships, glowing inviting quests, binding heart paces, privileged persistence. Restoration, awakening, relishing camaraderie. Lived where an understanding watched crafted lives, exhibiting illuminated drives, owing purposeful, illuminating happening, taken lend paths, traversing, reaching toward brighter shores, unveiling pathways bright, carrying companions promising belong heart entwined. Standing outside the entrance of the Silver Anchor, Junsu felt the adrenaline coursing through his veins, pulsing like a heartbeat. He had come so far in his quest to uncover the truth about the little girl from the photograph, and now, with newfound information about her potential fate, he stood at a crossroads that could redefine his very existence. As he took a moment to steel himself against the chaos of his thoughts, he couldn't help but reflect on how profoundly this journey had altered him. The image of that girl had ignited something within, a yearning for redemption and a chance to protect what was innocent. Was it possible for him to step away from a life riddled with violence and embrace a new role as a guardian? Each encounter had forced him to confront who he was and who he wanted to become. He entered the bar, the cacophony of laughter and music wrapping around him like an old familiar cloak, a stark contrast to the urgent introspection that raged in his heart. With every step deeper into its cozy embrace, he felt shadows of his past whispering behind him, challenging him to reconsider his path. Would he continue down this road of crime and fear, or could he redefine himself into something more? His eyes searched for Hyejin among the crowd. There she was, still vibrant in her element, pouring drinks and chatting animatedly with patrons. Yet behind that lively facade lay scars from the same chaotic night. They both wished they could forget. It was time for answers. Hyejin! Junsu called out as he approached her. She turned, her smile faltering slightly as she recognized him. You again? What do you need? I need information about the girl, Junsu said firmly, urgency coloring his voice. What can you tell me? Hyejin's demeanor shifted. Caution took hold as she leaned closer, lowering her voice amid the noise. I told you before, this is dangerous territory for you. That's not going to stop me, Junsu replied resolutely. With each passing moment, his resolve strengthened. He couldn't turn back now. Fine, she sighed heavily, as if weighing her options carefully. I heard some things about a child taken by bad people involved in trafficking rings. They buy and sell kids like commodities. The words struck Junsu like a physical blow, each syllable pulling at old wounds buried beneath layers of ambition and violence. The notion that someone would prey upon innocence ignited fury within him, mingled with guilt at what might have already been lost. Do you know where I can find these people? Junsu pressed urgently, desperate for any lead that could unveil more truth surrounding the little girl's fate. I don't know much more than that, Hyejin conceded reluctantly. But there are rumors going around about a man named Seok Jin who has connections to those trading children. Where can I find him? Junsu asked quickly. He frequents a warehouse near the docks under heavy security, she answered cautiously while glancing around them before adding in a whisper. But getting close won't be easy. The risks are worth it if it leads me to her, Junsu affirmed defiantly, feeling an unwavering strength building within him. As he left Hyejin's side and stepped back into the brisk night air, doubts rushed through his mind again. Would pursuing this path only lead to more bloodshed? Was it possible for someone like him, the kingpin of crime, to pivot towards protecting innocence rather than exploiting it? Navigating these tumultuous thoughts became impossible as he drove toward the docks where Seok Jin lurked among tangled shadows. He needed clarity amidst confusion, guiding forth courageous inquiry, inviting emerging futures, welcoming light blooming. Nevertheless, amidst endless possibility, arriving at the warehouse felt both exhilarating and menacing. Dim lights flickered overhead, casting uncertain shadows across concrete walls, steeped in secrecy, echoing lost lives shrouded amid desperation. Echoes, hauntingly familiar, lingering voices bared by hands, hovering over delicate hearts suited deeply entangled along myriad choices, leading captured echoes promising freedom offered repeatedly. Steeling himself against doubt or hesitation, hanging threateningly heavy upon shoulders, burden demanding conviction, rekindled newly sparked proving cherished bonds, forged among darkness burned brightly, promising fulfilled hopes, transformed lives touched abundantly, igniting warmth, guiding clarity, renewed urging familiarity, affirming strength, carrying love threaded every moment, shared drawn deeply alive, reclaiming dreams fleeting along, reminding deeply felt enduring, reaching across timelessness, cultivating beauty drawn alongside growing endeavors. Life lived joyously wonder, illuminating, ever brightening. Drawn towards promise engagement, vibrant transforming connectedness, forever embracing hope, flourishing, illuminating destinies, linking hearts. Junsu stepped out of his car toward looming possibilities, cutting through uncertainties, thrumming visions, emboldened by love combined, driving spirit charging. Portending encounters awaited growth held firmly anchoring richly woven legacies, inviting profound connectedness. Blooming all destinies shared, growing alongside flourishing light, promising fullness, breathing life restored, guiding interconnected journeys, inviting kinship, ever blossomed, illuminating trajectories, gathered boldly, yearning, embellishing towards brighter shores, vastly growing, reaching eternally, weaving together into lovingness, while cherishing, deeply illuminating, found everything beholden, following sacred paths, unearthing forgiveness while nurturing bonds, fiercely crafted chosen, returned alongside flourishing, formerly lost.